Hello there, Mr. Sutton here, bringing you the IM3 Honors 4-6 Extra Practice Number 1 solutions on quadratic inequalities.
To graph this quadratic inequality, let's start by getting the vertex. The x value for that will be negative b over 2a, since this is in standard form. So we have negative 2 for that b value up there. And then we have 2 times the a value, negative 1/2. This is going to be positive 2 over negative 1. So that's going to be a negative 2 when all said and done. To get the y value, let's plug that back into the original expression. So we've got, let's see here, negative 2 squared is 4, times negative 1/2 is negative 2. We have negative 2 plus 4, which is positive 2. So now we have positive 2 minus 6, which is negative 4. Okay, so our vertex is negative 2 comma negative 4. And for the dots and the line, since we have the equals here, that's going to be all solid. So we have a solid dot at negative 2, negative 4 for the vertex. And then I'll also graph the y-intercept. That's this negative 6 constant here, 0 comma negative 6. So that's a solid dot down here on the y-axis. And now we can use symmetry. We have an axis of symmetry going through the vertex. We're going 2 to the right from that to get the y-intercept. So I'm going to go 2 to the left at the same height to get another point. Now I can do a solid line through those solid dots. And looking at my inequality, it's y less than. That means I'm going to shade lower than the line that I just drew. So down here is my solution. We'll start this problem, graphing the inequality, by getting the vertex. So that's negative b over 2a. So that's going to be negative 2 over 2 times 1/2. 2 times 1/2 is just 1, so negative 2 over 1 is just negative 2. Plugging that back in to get the y value, we have negative 2 squared, which is 4. Half of that is 2. This is going to be 2 minus 4 right here, so that's negative 2. Negative 2 plus 3 gives us positive 1. So we have a vertex of negative 2 comma 1. And then the dots, since we have no equals on the inequality, those are going to be open dots. So at negative 2 comma 1, right here is our vertex, open dot. And now we can graph a couple more points. We have a y-intercept of 3 using this constant out here to find that. So 0 comma 3 is our y-intercept. And that's going to be all the way up here. And then using symmetry, we can get another dot on the other side of the vertex right over here. Dashed line goes through open dots. We have less than for the inequality, so that means I'm shading lower than the parabola that I just drew, so down here. And that's it. To start this inequality graphing problem, let me find the vertex with negative b over 2a. So that's going to be negative 6 over 2 times the a value 3. That's 6 over 6, which is just 1. Plugging 1 back in to get the x value, the y value rather, of the vertex. We have 3 times 1 squared, so that's just 3. 3 minus 6 is negative 3. Negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. So we have a vertex then of 1 comma negative 4. Since my inequality has an equals, this is going to be a solid dot at 1 comma negative 4. So that's over here, down right there. And now we can graph the y-intercept and use symmetry to get one more point. Since we have a constant of negative 1 in standard form, we have a y-intercept of 0 comma negative 1. So that's right here. And then we'll use symmetry to get another dot at the same height on the other side of the vertex. So right here, solid line goes through solid dots. My inequality is less than, so I'm going to shade below the parabola. On this problem, I'm trying to graph this quadratic inequality here. Let me start by getting the vertex, the x value of the vertex actually, with xv equals negative b over 2a. So that's going to be negative 4 over 2 times negative 2. This is positive 4 over negative 4, so that's negative 1. And to get the y value, let me plug that back into this expression. So we have negative 1 squared, that's just 1. So this is really negative 2 out in front. We have negative 2 plus 4, which is positive 2. Positive 2 plus 1 gives us 3. So we have the vertex negative 1 comma 3. I'm going to graph that in a sec. Let me just look at my inequality, though. We have an equals in the inequality, so this is going to be a solid dot at -1, 3, right there. And let me also graph the y-intercept to get another point. That's going to be this +1 constant, this c value, so 0, 1. And that's going to be right here. And then let me use symmetry to get another point on the other side of the vertex, right there. Use a solid line through solid dots. My inequality is less than, so I have to shade underneath that line. To get going on this problem, let me find the vertex of this parabola. So I'll use -b/2a to start that process. That's going to be -4 over 2 times a value of -1 there. So that's +4 over -2, which is going to be -2. Plugging that back into the expression to get the y value, I've got -2 squared, which is 4, but we have a negative in front, so that's -4 for that first term. We have -4 plus 8, which is going to be +4. +4 plus 3 gives us 7. So we have -2, 7 for the vertex. And let's see here, I've got no equals on my inequality, so that's going to be an open dot at -2, 7. So -2, 7, let's see, here's 4, 5, 6, 7, right there. There's my open dot. Now let me graph the y-intercept. That's this constant of 3, so 0, 3 is our y-intercept, and that's right there. And using symmetry, I can go 2 away from the axis of symmetry in the other direction, right there, to get another point. So that gives us a dashed line through those open dots. Since my inequality is less than, I'm going to shade below that parabola. For this problem, let's start by getting the vertex of this parabola with -b/2a. So that's going to be -4 over 2 times -1. So that's -4 over -2, which is +2. And then plugging that back into the expression there to get the y value, we have -4 plus 8, so that's +4. +4 minus 5 is -1. So 2, -1 is our vertex. And we have no equals under the inequality, so that's an open dot at 2, -1 right there. Now I can also graph the y-intercept. That's going to be this constant here, this c value of -5. So 0, -5 is our y-intercept, and that is down here. And now using symmetry, I'm 2 away from this axis of symmetry to get this y-intercept. So let me go 2 in the other direction at the same height. And there's another dot. Let me do a dashed line through those open dots. And since my inequality is greater than, that means I'm going to be shading above that parabola.